Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to be rating 10 books that I recently read. I do actually listen to a lot of these books on Audible, but there are some books that I definitely actually read as well. I read all of these in 2026, although not all of them were really released this year. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be comparing my rankings to rankings on Audible and rankings on Goodreads. So, the Goodreads rankings I've already put in white next to each book. And then these are my categories for rankings. So, there is top tier slash binge worthy at the top. Second is recommend, which is solid. Third is just mediocre, like in the middle, not too good, not too bad. The next one is not interesting. And then the last one is like, why did I even spend time reading this book? This was a waste of my time. So let's go ahead and let's get started with the 7 year slip. So I'm opening up Audible here. The 7 year slip is really a romance book, and I'm going to try to not really give major spoilers in this video. So, this is just a romance book across time. I know that's being a little vague. I think a lot of people really loved this book. For me, it was okay. I think I'm not a big romance person to begin with, and so I think that may be part of why I didn't necessarily love this book as much as everyone else. It did drag a little bit for me, and realistically, the audiobook was only 9 hours and 43 minutes. And usually books under 10 hours don't drag for me. So the fact that this felt like it was dragging for me and it was under 10 hours just wasn't really a great sign. So let's see. The Goodreads rating was 4.15 out of 5. The Audible rating for the story portion, there is a performance portion, which I'm not going to really be talking about, and then a story portion was 4.5 out of 5. For me, both of those rankings are a little bit high. I think I would really put this in. Ooh, this is hard. You know what? I think though, whoops, I think I would put this in mediocre. And I think if you are someone who really enjoys romance, this might be a recommend for you. But for me, I really feel like this is just mediocre. Next, we have Midnight Library by Matt Haig. So I really enjoyed this book overall. This book has the underlying theme of kind of living different versions of your life, which I know other books do have as well. It's a female lead, and she gets the chance to live those different versions of her life, and each chapter is kind of like a different version. I do think this book is 8 hours and 50 minutes. There were parts that I did feel like dragged a little bit. I think that was the main downside. I think some chapters could have been taken out. However, overall, I really did like the concept of the book. I enjoyed reading it. I didn't read it in a day. I read it in about a week, and I read a few chapters each day and really listened actually to a few chapters each day. Let's see what the ratings were. So the Goodreads, it's a little cut off here, but it's 3.97. I felt that was a little bit low. The Audible ratings for story was 4.6 out of 5. I actually feel like that might be a little high. I would put this under solidly recommend. And the only reason I really wouldn't put it in top tier slash binge worthy is because it did drag at times, and also realistically the concept isn't new. Like there are other books out there with this concept. Even then I still enjoyed it. Okay, next. Best Offer Wins by Marissa Kashino. This book was so fun to read. It's basically about a female lead who goes crazy over a specific house that she wants and will do anything to get it. And I think it's not really just about that. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to get into it because that might be spoilers. So we'll stop there. I think a lot of people find the female lead unlikable. I did. Of course, I mean, she is unlikable, but I did really appreciate how the book kind of went into some of her history and gave her a bit of a backstory and kind of like alluded to why she is the way she is. I thought overall this was such a fun read. It's almost like a satire slash thriller and maybe like the tiniest bit of horror. It's also a very fast listen. I mean, the audiobook is 8 hours and 38 minutes. I think I finished this in like 2 days. The Goodreads rating is 3.71, which I feel is like such a drastic underrating. I thought it was way better. And then the Audible rating for story is 4.1 out of 5, which I think is a little more like it, but I still would have rated this so much higher. For me, this is top tier and binge worthy. I absolutely love this book. It was such a fun read. I would definitely recommend it. Okay, next is, let's see, let's do The Only One Left by Riley Sager. So this book is really, I think, a thriller slash maybe a little bit horror. It is a little bit of a long listen on Audible. It's 12 hours and 32 minutes. And again, I consider anything over 10 hours to be a bit on the longer side and anything under to be on the shorter side. I think the beginning of the book is really fun. It's creepy in like an enjoyable way almost. However, I just felt so disappointed by kind of the last part of this book. Everything just did not feel very like tied up or I guess they did tie things up and try to explain things, but it just didn't really make sense to me. Like some of the twists, I think, and I really appreciate twists, but some of the twists just didn't land right with me. And there were, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So I don't know. I had high hopes for this book. It started out really good, it ended bad to me. I will say for the audiobook, I thought the performance actually was pretty good. They rated it as 4.7 out of 5 here. I thought it was pretty good. But for the story itself, on Audible, it was 4.5 out of 5. I feel like that's high. On Goodreads, it was 4.13 out of 5. I kind of thought that was high. I think because I didn't like the ending so much, I'm actually even going to rate this as like, oh, why did I read this? Because it just had so much potential and then it was like such a letdown at the end. And so that's why I'm going with that. Next is Strangers by Belle Burden. This is about the author Belle Burden and her kind of journey with divorce and infidelity. And I don't feel like those are spoilers because those things are discussed within the first few pages, the first chapter, I think, of the book. And really, the story is just about all of her emotions going through those things. And it's actually so good. She has such beautiful writing. I think her experiences are very relatable for anyone who's probably gone through infidelity. I think it's relatable for women. It's probably relatable for men who have gone through something similar. I listened to this in a day. It looks like it's 7 hours and 3 minutes. I went through this so quickly. I have to say, when I listened to a preview of this book, I wasn't too sure because her voice comes across as a little bit monotone at first. But I have to say, after listening to the whole book, I mean, it's just beautiful to hear her read it. And so it looks like Goodreads is 4.28. I think that's underrating. On Audible, the story is 4.7 out of 5. I think that's pretty much spot on. And I would agree with the Audible rating. It is top tier and binge worthy to me. Okay, so next, let's see what we have here. So let's do The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. I really like Brene's Brown writing. I mean, she talks about things in a very digestible manner. And so for that reason, I do like her books in general. This one was very short, only 4 hours and 31 minutes, so easy to get through. There's clear chapters that talk about different lessons. I think if you're into this kind of thing, I mean, realistically, it talks about perfectionism and ways to deal and cope and kind of like look at it. And so if you're into that kind of thing, you'll like this book. If you aren't, you're not really going to like this book, but it does seem like the Goodreads was 4.24. And then it seems like the Audible rating was 4.18, or sorry, 4.8 out of 5. So, wow, I think the Audible rating is like really high. I mean, this was a good book, but I don't know, 4.8 out of 5. I don't know. I think the Goodreads rating is kind of more like it to me. I mean, I think I would just rate this like a 4 out of 5, and I think it's solid. Like, I would recommend this book. Is there anything amazing about it? No, but is it just a good read and a short read and an easy read? Yeah. Okay, so next, let's do This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. So this, I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I think this is the author's first book. I think for an author's first book, this is really good. This is about two podcasters and kind of like their journey in life. And yeah, just trying not to add too many spoilers, but it is, I think these categories on Audible are correct. It is a domestic thriller. It is a romantic book. There is suspense. There are triggering kind of topics, domestic topics in this book. So just be prepared. I really felt like the first half of this book was so boring and I almost didn't finish it. But then the second half was actually really good. So there were twists. The twist to me made sense, and I did like the twists. So I think overall, let's see, the Audible rating is 4.5 and the Goodreads is 3.96. I think I'm a little bit more in line with the Goodreads. I think the Audible rating is a little high. And so I think I would put this, it's so hard because I kind of go towards mediocre, but then I see the 7 Year Slip and I'm like, these aren't on this in the same category. Like, this is way better than the 7 Year Slip. So I think I'm going to put it under recommend. I think just know the first half might drag a little bit. And I thought the underlying concept for the book was pretty good though. So yeah, I'll put it under recommend. Okay, so next, not quite dead yet. This book is by Holly Jackson. It is a little bit of a long listen. It's 14 hours and 26 minutes. It is about a female lead. She gets a head injury. She's trying to figure out who does it, basically. And it is a little bit of like a thriller and suspense book. I personally felt like it dragged a little bit. There were some twists at the end, but overall, there was nothing super impressive about this book. I think if you read this around Halloween, it would be fun. But other than that, it was okay. It wasn't disappointing, but it was just kind of like okay. It looks like the Goodreads was 3.99 out of 5, and the Audible was 4.1 out of 5. I think I would just put this. Oh, whoops. I think I would just put this as mediocre. So, yeah, more like a 3.5 out of 5 almost. So I think a little bit lower than both the Audible and Goodreads. So then the next few ones, What My Bones Know. This is by Stephanie Fu. It was definitely not released this year. It's been a while. I did actually read this book. I did not listen to the audiobook, so I don't know how that, the performance is or the reader is. This is really about the author, Stephanie Fu, who goes through her mental health history. She is diagnosed with, I believe, CPTSD, and talks about her journey, her childhood, and her journey with treatment as well. And I thought it was very good overall. It wasn't something I read in a day, but I read a few chapters each day, and for me, I think I'm glad I read this book. I mean, I think the title, A Memoir of Healing from Accomplished Trauma, that describes this book perfectly. So it looks like the Goodreads was 4.49 out of 5 and the Audible was 4.9 out of 5. I have to say, both those ratings are a little high for me. I did like this book. I thought it was good. I thought this was a very solid book. But I wouldn't put this in top tier. I would put this in recommend. Like, it was a good book. It was a really good memoir. I'm going to delete these. But I don't know. Was there anything like top tier about it? Like how Strangers made me feel? I don't think so. But was it a very good and solid book? Yes. Yes, it was. So that's why I'm just going to put it under recommend. Okay. And last but not least, we have An Offer from a Gentleman. So this is the Bridgerton series. I actually read this when this most recent most recent season of Bridgerton dropped, and I read it because if you don't know, it drops in two parts, a part one and part two, and I couldn't wait after watching part one. I wanted to find out what happened in the series, and this is the book that corresponded to the Netflix series that was released. So I read it and I didn't listen to this. I did read it. It was a super fast read. I'm actually shocked now because I see here the audiobook is like 12 hours and 22 minutes. And I can't believe that because this was just such a fast read for me. I think I read it in a few hours or something. So, I mean, if you know the Bridgerton book series, you know what it's like. The writing isn't amazing. It's not PC at all. I basically just read it to find out what happens. And I don't like romance, but I like Bridgerton. That's kind of been one exception. um, so it looks, and I guess I didn't really even give a summary, but I mean, if you don't know what Bridgerton is, it's basically oh my gosh, how do I even describe this? It's basically about a big a big rich family in the past, and each of their kids has like a love story with someone. And so that's kind of what it's about. And there's a very popular Netflix series now based off of it. So it looks like the story on Audible is 4.7 out of 5. On Goodreads, it's 3.94 out of 5. Um, I'm shocked that the Goodreads rating was, I think it was higher than Best Offer wins, and I'm just shocked about that. I mean, I think realistically, overall, the book isn't amazing. As I said, the writing's not amazing. It's not PC, but I had that expectation going into it. And so I knew it wasn't going to be very good, but did I enjoy the story and did I enjoy the content mostly? Yes. Yes, I did. So I think I got out of the book what I was looking for. And so it's really hard to compare to the other books on this screen because it's just like, I feel like its own category almost. But I think I would put this in, oh, this is so hard. I think I would put this in recommend, which is shocking to me because I really would not have thought that I would have rated that this high before I did this video. I thought I would have put this in like mediocre, but realistically, I had a lot more fun reading this book than the books in the mediocre category, and so I think that's why I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So yeah, these are my final book ratings. I I really enjoyed comparing them to the Audible and the Goodreads ratings. It's always really hard for me to find, an accurate rating website or someone who reviews things and they have similar feelings to me. And I mean, not everyone is going to interpret books the same way, but I have to say, I think from this, I really did learn. I think I learned that there really isn't one that's more reliable than the other. Like, I think on some of these, I agreed more with Audible ratings. On some, I agree more with Goodreads. And for some reason, though, I feel like I don't know which one I actually thought was more accurate. I kind of feel like the Audible ones maybe were a tiny bit more accurate. There was some of the Goodreads rating that shocked me, but still, I think, I disagreed with both at times. So, yeah, let me know if you like this video. I'm probably gonna keep reading and I may be reading more in the future.